Hola, welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, a bilingual podcast that shares interviews with self-made millionaires, financially savvy investors, and all things financial literacy and dinero. Your host, Natalie Torres, is a two-time TEDx speaker and award-winning author, investor, and financially savvy Latina that has been featured on NBC, Telemundo, and Forbes as a financial literacy and mental health advocate. She is joined by her co-host, Vira, an author, investor, and seasoned insurance professional. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes. It has been a minute, actually. So as all of you know, when Natalie and I need to take a break, we take a break because life does happen. But when we come back with some strong interviewees, and I'm super excited to say that we have one today. Unfortunately, Natalie can't be with us today because we're going to come back with another episode explaining all of like the cool stuff that's been happening. But luckily, I am able to interview Alondra today. Her name is Alondra Canizal Hsu, and she's with Soluna Career Consulting. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about yourself. But I met her here in Portland. As many of you know, I moved to Portland almost 2 years ago. It's like going by so fast. And they have a lot of the difference between like Southern California, I find in Portland, is that in Southern California, every day there's some Latina networking function that you can go to, but in Portland, not so much. So like whenever there is something, I'm like, I try to be there, because like you try to find your people. And this is where I met Alondra. She was actually a speaker on the panel. I found her insights on careers, on transitioning in your careers, on getting into a career. So insightful. So Alondra, welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes.
Thank you so much for having me here and welcome to Portland. I do see you at all the different events, and I do think it definitely makes a difference, like you said, to be out there because of how there are a lot of Latinas in Portland, but definitely not as many as in Southern California. So it's important to get ourselves out there and meet one another. My name's Alondra. I'm a career strategist, career coach, speaker. I help people transition into their next career journey with applying for jobs through their resume, their cover letter, getting ready for their interviews. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And I am on your newsletter subscription. I also see your stuff on LinkedIn, and I absolutely love that you offer like these master classes on how to on so many things on your resume and your cover letter and so forth. And you actually touched upon something there when you mentioned the transitioning in your career. I think a lot of our listeners are, we do have a lot of young listeners, but most of them are in this like professional, and by professional, I mean like they've been in the work world a minute, they've been there for
Mhm.
a couple of years and they're looking to like up level themselves, but sometimes we encounter this resistance, especially as Latinas, as women, like how do we do that? How do I there's always that question of like, how do I ask for more money? Should I go for that director or, C-suite level role? And I just find that the tips that you give, even online, are just so crystal clear and really they seem so easy. But can you tell us, like, really, number one, why did you get into this? And number two, why is it so hard for us to implement easy things?
Mhm. Yeah, I think they always sound easy on paper, but I think
Yeah.
because the work is so personal, our own career is so personal, it's a lot harder to implement in daily life. It's a lot easier to say, put yourself out there, talk to your supervisor, document your success, get data, get receipts for everything that you're doing. It's a lot harder to put that date on the calendar for your supervisor and to say, hey, today we're going to talk about my promotion, or we're during my performance review, we're going to talk about other benefits that I could be getting from this position. So I think on one side of it, it's a lot easier in theory to like talk about. And then on the other hand, it's a lot easier to implement and to put into place, which is where I come in and working with people and figuring out what our strategy is going to be, because a lot of this is strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And was it something that you kind of like started with through your education to get into this, or did you see that there was a need? Because I know that there are folks that help people in their careers, but I don't know, you kind of stood out to me in your approach. It's so how do I say, like, relatable and practical, that it doesn't seem intimidating. Like, no, again, no offense to any other strategists out there. It just seems like it's not reachable. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
the way that you interact in the workshops that you've had, I just find that people feel really comfortable and it's very actionable. So
Mhm.
like, how did you decide to get into this?
I think the main reason that I decided to do this is because I didn't have a lot of support in my career. And especially as an immigrant from Mexico and my family being immigrants from Mexico, we had very little options presented to us. And especially right now with everything going on politically and really Latino labor being under attack, it's so important to me to show people the importance of knowing our own value and advocating for our own value. So that's how I got started, and that's why I continue to do this.
Yeah, and we tell our listeners, Natalie's readers, like to be financially savvy, it's not just about like the actual monetary part of it. So much of the, like, I think the word value is loaded. A lot of people associate value with just like monetary means, like the material stuff, but value is just like your self-worth, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? Do you feel like
Mhm.
you are so powerful you can take on whatever comes through towards you, or do you feel small? And some of us are attacked by low self-esteem, low confidence, and it does come from the fact that culturally we may be different from what, like, quote unquote, the American standards are. So just speaking to that, especially with what's going on, do you, have you encountered some of your clients being a little bit fearful in asking for more just because of the political climate?
Yeah, I think right now, just in general, people are more hesitant to A, ask for more, and B, make career transitions because there is a sense of scarcity right now. There's a sense of, well, if I quit my job, am I going to have a hard time finding another job? If I quit my job, what's in the next door? And just kind of feeling like, oh, I'm not quite sure what's coming up next. And a lot of scarcity mindset and a lot of fear, frankly, because like I said earlier, like we are under attack, and I don't think I'm underestimate or like I don't think I'm overinflating that and saying that multiple times. And I think the current climate has just outlined for me a couple of things. One being that it's super important right now for us to know our own value, and that meaning how do we protect what we've already built in our careers? What does that mean for us individually? That could mean something different for me than what it means for you. But how do we protect what we've already built when the messaging is that we are just workers? Right now, the messaging in the media when someone gets detained is, oh, they were a worker, they provided this, or a meatpacking plant owner wants his workers back. We are more than workers. We're whole people. We have families, we have interests, we have jobs. And so I really think that this is a wake up call for us as people, for us as Latinos, to be like, wait a minute. I'm more than a worker. And because of that, A, I need to protect my own assets because nobody else in the bureaucracy where I'm working is protecting them. And B, how do I build my own thing? How do I use what job I'm having now as part of what I am or part of what I do? Maybe that is your passion. Maybe that is something that gets you up in the morning, and that's great. But there's other things that also bring you, that are also of interest to you, that also bring you joy, and leaning into that as well, being whole people.
Yeah, that is incredible. I also think that it's not an exaggeration what you're saying, and I would love to know, for the listeners here, how do you protect that? If you are, let's say you're in, I don't know, a lot of people are in corporate environments, right? And things can get really difficult because we all know that in corporate environments, like, we tend to be tokens. Like,
Right.
it isn't like it's 90% Latinos, or whatever your background is, right? Like, I grew up in a Mexican Chinese household. I'm very used to seeing that, but when I stepped into corporate America, that is not what I saw. So how do you protect that? what are steps that we can take to say, like, I'm here, I want to be vocal for myself, but I also don't want to, I don't know, I think some people fear being too vocal and it can jeopardize their career.
hmm Definitely. And I think that that's very real. That's definitely something that I would never discredit because we're all in different stages of privilege. We're all in different stages of what we feel comfortable being vocal on, what we feel, we can say in public or even amongst friends. And so I want to acknowledge that that's definitely the spectrum that we're in and how do we use that privilege to speak up for other people. But I think on a practical level, one thing that definitely comes to mind is, and I'm not an expert in this, but I think estate planning is very, very important in, especially if we have a corporate job, in making use of any resources or benefits that our corporate jobs might have that help us do more of that estate planning so that our legacy and the generational wealth that we're building isn't lost, that there is some attachment back to ourselves, back to our family.
Oh, that's a huge thing. We talk about that often, about just making sure that you think about that future. I think a lot of Latinos, especially, we don't like to think about, like, something can happen.
Mhm.
God forbid, right? It's always like it's always we always involve God somehow. Like,
Yeah.
we don't want that to happen. But cycles do happen, things do happen, and I think an estate plan is so critical. A living trust as part of that is so critical. But of course, there's other ways that, as you mentioned, you can build upon things that are your passion, on the side, right? So, really super valid points, and I love just your thought process behind where people are on the spectrum. It really does vary, and I also think it varies if you're like first generation, second generation, third, like there's so much. That's what people don't understand. Like for us in
Mhm.
careers, there's just so much baggage. It's not like we're
Yeah.
like, oh, I've been in America for so many, like my whole family has been here and my whole family has worked for this company, or, I'm going on 5 years of this business. It's not like that for us. It's
Mhm.
very, very different. And I think it's difficult for folks that are not in our shoes to process that and to process the fears of asking for more and so forth. But if you
Yeah.
can give us some tips, like let's say there is somebody, a lot of people are coming up on performance reviews,
Mhm.
and it's time. They want to know, can I make more? How should I ask for it? Like, what is a typical scenario for you, and what are typical questions that your clients ask you, and how do you help them?
Mhm. One of the main things that I work on with my clients is that mindset of scarcity and over over empathy. I call they over empathize with their company. And by that I mean is that they take on their burden. So they'll say like, "Oh no, this isn't the year. My director was just saying that the budget isn't great." And they get groomed in that way like, "Oh, this isn't like we've lost so much profit. Like this isn't the year that we're doing bonuses and so your mentality in that way starts to feel like, oh, then I shouldn't ask. Then I'm not going to because now I know what the answer is going to be. And so now I'm going to step back and I'm not going to do it. And so a lot of it is that mentality of that's okay. That's their business. And your business is looking out for yourself. So you still have to be vocal and you still have to be able to put yourself out there. And one way that we increase that strength or increase the confidence in going in there is by going in there with receipts. By that I mean is by proving what you have done, coming in with metrics, coming in with data to show your worth, to show your value to the company. And I think the main thing with that, it can be so loaded for first gen, for immigrant job seekers, because we get so passionate about our jobs and it becomes so personal. And sometimes the metrics just feel so disconnected, or they feel like, oh, that's not me. I'm not like looking for money everywhere I go. It's like, girl, it's not about that. It's about you showing your worth so that you are getting and you're building your own generational wealth through this job that you bust your butt for every day.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we constantly on this show bring up this idea of like like, oh, I don't want to be all about money. It's like, no, no. You're right. Squash that. Be all about that money. Not so much because you're gonna hoard it and be all greedy and
Right.
weird. It's just more like it fuels your peace.
Hmm.
And I think that if we can wrap our minds around money is always coming my way. I want to be about this money. Like that company, like you said, you got to look out for yourself because they're looking out for themselves, right? They're telling you, they're grooming you, as you said,
Hmm.
oh, it's not profitable this year. They're protecting their money. So you
Hmm.
have to protect your money. You have to be about that money to, again, just invest in your peace. And I think if we
Right.
can maybe wrap our minds around how money really just helps us invest more in our peace. And by peace, it can be whatever freedom it is that you're seeking. Maybe it would be less of a stigma to say, I'm all about money,
Hmm.
because I think all of us have gone through that. And I can say that in the last like 10 years, especially surrounding myself with so many people that understand generational wealth, how that works. I'm like, I am all about money. Like, and again, it's not because I want to have all the fancy things. Cool if I do. It's just more about like, I don't want to have to worry.
Yeah.
Like our parents busted their butts for us. We all, I'm first gen. I busted my butt my whole life to be where I am, and I'm gonna protect and also grow, right? It's
Mhm.
just like, I think it just takes the willingness to break through that mindset. And whoever says like, oh God, why are we always talking about mindset? It's still like we have a lot
Mhm.
of limitations.
Yeah, a
And,
hundred percent.
and I think people like yourself that work with our communities, whether, and it's not just about, just Latinas. We always say it's open to everyone that's willing to do the work. Like you break it down in a way where you can empathize, you can sympathize. You've been there, you've done that. You're still going through it. You're still
Mhm.
running your business. You're still showing up. Like it doesn't mean
Mhm.
that you just stop the work. Like you still want to see others succeed, right?
Right.
And I'm sure like for yourself, are there some like mindset barriers that you have overcome that you can share with us?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that one of the big ones is culturally, especially as women, we've been taught, calladita te ves más bonita. Like, don't say anything, keep your mouth shut, just do as you're told, follow the rules. And reality that gets you nothing. Closed mouths don't get fed. You need to speak up. You need to make your efforts known, and you need to get recognition for the work that you do instead of hiding behind somebody else, instead of hiding behind your boss, instead of passing the credit to everybody else. We did this. Yes, we did this and I initiated it. It's always about highlighting efforts that you did. And I think the biggest shift in that is not because you're being greedy, not because you're being an egoísta or a presumida, but it's because you're giving yourself credit for what you did and you're modeling for other people how to do that. Also, we're not Starbucks. You ain't me. We're not Starbucks. This isn't a capitalist thing. I was meeting with my business coach earlier this week where I was like, everything going on. I feel so weird, like charging people for my services. Like people are looking for jobs. And she's like, no, 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 no. Like you are not a huge corporation that is taking advantage of people. You are here to help people and you work with people on like payment plans for your services. You still need to charge and keep your lights on so that people have a space for them with you. And so that to me, I was like, oh yeah, duh. Okay, here I go again. Like, let's go.
Yeah, see, so it's just on every level. I always tell people like you might be in a career path where you're not having CEO problems. And then
Right.
when you open up your own business, you're going to be like, "Oh, yeah, I need to get strategy for myself because now I have CEO questions." So,
Right.
yeah, no, that is I think at every moment it helps to have somebody in your corner that is there for you and is also going to just like throw a bucket of cold water in you and be like, "Hey, wake up." Like we're not this isn't it's okay to say I'm not a charity. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is all case by case also, and we can always opt just like lawyers do, or we'll do something pro bono sometimes because
Mm-hmm.
it's like we get it. But at the end of the day, I always tell people like if I went to your store and I ask for a discount, are you going to give it to me? Like, I don't go to like, I don't know, Safeway and be like, can I get a
Right.
discount on this milk? Like, they're going to be like, no, right?
Right. So like security.
Exactly. So I think we need to think about that. It's like, in general, I would say that for those of us that have like that if you do have a business, I think we're always wondering whether or not we're charging too much or enough. And I think in general, probably it's not enough, but
Mhm.
we also want to be fair.
Right.
Right. So it's a balance. It is a
Yeah.
balance. Well, I'm telling you, we're gonna have to have you back. That's how quickly 20 minutes go.
Yes, that was
Like
quick.
I know, but I want you to give us any immediate tips or anything actionable that somebody can take right now, because you already did about like potentially asking for more, but it's somebody who's maybe looking to hop to another position. What's
Mhm.
something that like a research suggestion or a tweak that they can do that might help them during this climate?
Mhm. I think the main thing right now is meeting people, putting yourself out there, going to networking events. And it doesn't have to be that serious. If you haven't been going to networking events and you haven't put yourself out there, you can start doing like small introductions with people or maybe reconnecting with someone that you haven't talked to in a while. Hey, how are you doing? Let's meet up for coffee and just chat. It doesn't have to feel grimy. It doesn't have to feel weird or like you're using people. You're just reconnecting and you're building relationships. And we're all really good at that. So it's just a matter of putting yourself out there. And it's baby steps for the larger goal.
That is so good. You guys rewind that and listen to that part again. So, if somebody wants to work with you, Alondra, where can they reach you? And we'll make sure to put this information in the show notes, but share with us where they can reach you.
They can find me on my website, solunacareer.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Alondra Canizal Hsu or Soluna Career Consulting. And I'm on Instagram, Soluna Career PDX.
You heard it here, ladies and gents, and everyone else in between. We always like to say this is a space for you. So if you have any suggestions, if you want to reach out to Alondra, please do. If you have questions for her, reach out. We always say reach out, and then you guys don't. So, like, she's here. Thank you so much for being here. We will have you back on the show because I know Natalie has a ton of questions after she listens to this episode, and I have a million more questions to ask you. So, everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you so much.
To learn more about the podcast, follow us on Instagram at FinSavvy in 20 minutes and catch our interviews on YouTube. If you want to become a sponsor, hire us for your next workshop or speaking engagement, reach out to us at financiallysavvyin20minutes.com or send us a DM. All it takes is 20 minutes out of your day to become financially savvy.